Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an organizer and may now speak to any other organizers. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Thank you all for joining this webinar. This will be a 10-minute webinar, so we will skip my introductions to save some time. You can find more information on our website, or you can contact me via LinkedIn. We have been implementing planning solutions in different industries, and in the retail industry we came across challenges which were really specific for the business. Each retailer was confronted with the difficulty of preparing a detailed forecast. Preparing a weekly sales forecast, or sometimes even a daily sales forecast, for each individual store can be very time consuming. Based upon the several implementations we have performed, we have identified several challenges and created solutions for them, and we will present them in 4 coffee break webinars. This webinar we will describe how several drivers like the like-for-like ratio or seasonality can improve the speed of the process. And we will also have a look at the week versus period reporting. We will show the drivers and the reporting with board. We have identified the following challenges in the retail industry, and we have divided them across 4 short webinars. In this webinar we will focus on like-for-like, seasonality and week versus period reporting. The challenge of this week is how we can use drivers to speed up the forecast process. The need to forecast on a more detailed level is ever increasing, and creating a weekly or daily sales forecast can be very time consuming. Based upon the maturity of a store, different drivers can be used. Comparable stores can be planned with a like-for-like ratio, and new or non-comparable stores can be planned annually with a predefined seasonality. There is a difference on the reporting needs for costs or for the daily sales. Sales are preferably planned on a daily or a week level, where costs normally are planned on a monthly level. However, when creating reports, the sales, you want to compare the same number of days. So if you use a normal calendar, one month is 28 days, the other is 31, and then again 30. So a solution is to give each period a couple of weeks. So one common solution is that January gets 4 weeks, February gets really 4 weeks, and March gets 5 weeks, and the same for the other quarter. So each time you have 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. And in the second quarter it's again 4 weeks, 4 weeks and 5 weeks. And this means that the first 2 weeks are always 28 days, and the last week is 35 days, which makes it easy to compare the periods with last year. Or you can also have 30 periods with all 4 weeks in them. We solve this in board with using different roll-up mechanisms, which we will show in the demonstration. In our solution, you will have the ability to start a forecast with specific drivers. The like-for-like ratio will add an amount to each week for the comparable stores. So we take off with last year actuals as a baseline, and then we apply a like-for-like percentage and afterwards you have the ability to make amendments per store, per period, so that you still can deviate. But at least you can quickly start populating your forecast and you don't need to start from scratch. The moment we have a new store, then we can't use previous year data, so then we just start from the seasonality and input our data on a year total level. And in the end, we also have a look on the difference between the week or the period reporting. The software that has been used to create a demonstration model is Board. Board is a one-stop solution that can be used for analysis, business intelligence, or CPM, and it can be tailored to the needs of the clients. We invite you to visit the website of Board or contact us if you want to know more about the possibilities of Board. I will now demonstrate how we can forecast the revenue with the like-for-like ratio and with the seasonality. And afterwards I will also show the difference between the week reporting or the period reporting. I will now switch to the Board software, so we have a live demonstration. This can be a starting screen of Board. We will first start with the seasonality. And in order to start with the seasonality, we can create a new store. So I open my store settings, and here we see all the different stores which are in the models, and we can immediately see that Board offers all different kinds of input. So we can work with dates, we can have checkboxes, or even drop-down boxes. So we have a lot of flexibility in here. I just want to create a new store so we also can quickly see how that works. I just click it, I create store 1 of 4. I immediately also can add in the attribute types of the dimension, because I know the store we will create it in Belgium, and it will be the specific Formula 1 chain. The moment I submit it, it is dynamically added to the full database. So it's added to this screen, and I can say, okay, it's a new store and we want to start planning the store from February onwards. And I submit my data. And after I've submitted my data, I need to make sure that the store status is updated accordingly. The store status shows if a store is open or closed in a specific week, and this is needed if we want to allocate a yearly number down to week level, because it could be that a store isn't open yet, or that a refurbishment is going on and then you don't want to have revenue planned in that period. So if I refresh all the store statuses of the stores, then we can see that I created a new store which is closed the first 4 weeks, but is open until the rest of the year. So now we have set up a new store which we can plan annually. But first have a look at the week split, because that will be used in order to distribute the data. In the screen you can immediately see that Board offers you the functionality to show input tables and graphs in the same time. So while you're making your forecast, it is also possible to view dashboards and to have extra insight the moment you are working with it. And if I go to 2015, we can see a really big spike in week 13, and then we also can focus on a specific element, and if I click it, then the graph also only focuses on that specific element, so it's real easy to get a better insight of your numbers. So if we are happy with our input, with our seasonality that we loaded up front, then we can input an annual number. So I'll go to my new store gross sales input, and in here you can see that we dynamically added a new store without the need of any IT. It's just pressing a button and it's updated through the whole model. I think the store will have a revenue of 30 million. I type in 30 million in 2014 and I submit my data. The moment I submit my data, the annual number is being divided across the weeks, and the moment the process is ready, we can go to the report, where I need to make sure that I have the correct year, and then we can focus on the new store we just created, and then we see that the first 4 weeks were not calculated. The first 4 weeks were not calculated, but then the seasonal and then the rest of the seasonality is calculated. And we also see that although it is planned, you plan it for 30 million annually, after the seasonality and the store status, the store will actually have a revenue of 28 million because the revenue of the first 4 weeks does not count. So now we have seen how we can input annually a number which is being divided based upon the seasonality. Now we'll have a look at the like-for-like ratio. I will close the screens that we don't use anymore. Now we can see that as the store setting, we already have a couple of comparable stores set up. We can have a look at the like-for-like percentage. The like-for-like percentage is just a percentage per brand or chain per year. So you put in a high level percentage and it will be applied on the previous year actual numbers. So if we go to the comparable store revenue planning, and I open 2014, then we can see that the baseline of 2014 is already populated with the previous year actual number. So that will be the start of the forecast. We know that there will be, we expect specific changes in the revenue per brand or per chain, which we inputted with the like-for-like ratio. We'll say, okay, also run the like-for-like ratio, and now the like-for-like ratio will be put on each store on each week. And you can immediately see what the impact is of the like-for-like ratio. Now, of course, you still probably want to make adjustments on a lower level, and we can just zoom in on a store And if we zoom in on a store, we make a drill down so we can see all the weeks of the store. And we see here that the first 8 weeks are not calculated, but that is because in the current system setup the first 8 weeks are actuals, and on the actuals they were just loaded, so we don't need to calculate the like-for-like ratio. But we also have the store adjust, and here we still can make lower level changes. I need to put it in here because also the lower level changes, they are being allocated to the lowest level. So now we have seen how we can easily play with the like-for-like ratio and still be able to see where a specific number is coming from and how you derived to your final plan. So you have a really good insight in how your budget was created. Now, as the last step today, what we want to show is the period, the week versus period reporting. I created a simple template where we can see where I just inputted a 1 per day, so we can easily see what's the difference between both setups. So the left table has the normal calendar setup. Each month has just its own day, so January 31 days, February 28, March 31. And if we go to the right table, we can see that we use the roll-up of 445. So January has 28, February 28, March 35. And the same in the second quarter, third and fourth quarter. And if we now want to make a change, if we drill down, then we will see first the 4 weeks because we first drill down to the weeks. And then I drill down to the days, and we see that I inputted everywhere a 1. And if I now change the 1st of February not to 1 but till 10, I submit my data, then we can see that on the 445 period roll-up we see it. The 37 is in January, and in the normal calendar roll-up the 37 drops in February. But both roll-ups are being updated in the same time, so you can work with the same data and just see how you want to, which roll-up you want to use for your reporting. If you want to compare, it is better to use the 445 ratio, and if you want to make financial reports, you still can use the normal months. So everybody wants to have a more detailed budget, greater flexibility, and spend less time creating them, so that there's more time for analyzing. This webinar, we showed how you can achieve this by making full use of drivers. We can use a like-for-like ratio for comparable stores, and we can use the seasonality in order to be able to input data on an aggregated level and already have the seasonality split on a week level or even day level, as long as we have the seasonality defined. And we also saw how we can have different period roll-ups in order to facilitate different kinds of reporting. On our fourth and last webinar, we will look at how we can align our financial plan with the SOP outcomes, and it will be on the 4th of February. I would like to thank you all for viewing this webinar and invite you to join the last one in this series. Thank you and goodbye.